we also seem to be looking heavily at improving our run prevention. So let's talk about Max Fried, because the Yankees have been reportedly engaged with him seriously. They've apparently had 2 Zoom calls with him already. And Brian Cashman kind of confirmed a little bit of interest, that they've spoken with him, that it was a good meeting. And then we had John Morosi tonight say that he expects Max Fried to sign at the winter meetings, and right now the Yankees are the favorite. So, Max Fried, I'm sure that we have some StatCast stuff I can pull up. What are your thoughts on plopping him into the rotation? Where do you think he fits? I mean, somebody would have to leave. I mean, it's Stroman. Maybe it's Nestor Cortez. I mean, maybe they deal Clark Schmidt in the same way they dealt Michael King, like a young, controllable starter who's good to get a bat. I mean, there's a lot of creative ways, which is another thing that Brian Cashman said here. I'm going to pull up some Max Fried. Give me your thoughts on Max.
Yeah, so I mean, as to where he's going to fit in the rotation, I think he'd fit in easily at the, number 2 spot there. But I definitely think that, Stroman and Cortez are on the chopping block. We've heard a lot that the pitching market is kind of crazy right now and people are really looking for pitching. So honestly, if you ask me, I think you get off of Stroman's deal while you can, or, maybe you trade Nestor, but I'd prefer to trade Stroman. But Max Fried is a great pitcher. He's had, more than a few great seasons over there with the Braves. He's a World Series champion. He's a ground ball first pitcher too. He's not really going to blow you away, but ground ball pitcher, that's what you want to see in Yankee Stadium. Doesn't allow a ton of hard contact, but yeah, he's someone that I think would pitch very, very well in Yankee Stadium, and you got to love that he's a lefty too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his stuff, and let me just put it back up. The cutter and the sinker. I mean, lefties with cutter and sinker, who does that remind you of? Andy Pettitte, CC Sabathia towards the end of his career. That can be very effective, just keeping the ball off the barrel of the bat, and that's something he already excels at. Obviously not a huge strikeout guy, about league average with the walks, but he just creates soft contact, right? And so that means shorter at bats. That means you're not going to have as many strikeouts. I bet he could still get a strikeout if he needed to. But I really like the idea of Max Fried. I know a lot of people are super high on Corbin Burnes. I just think he's going to be more expensive. I think he's more in like the $35 million range, where I think you might be able to get Max Fried for under 30, like maybe 28, like more Carlos Rodon money.
Yeah, I think Max Fried is definitely the better option here. I don't think that you really want to hand Corbin Burnes that bag. Not that Corbin Burnes isn't a good pitcher, but I just don't think the Yankees really need that right now. They have good pitching development. I have confidence that they can put together a good rotation and a good bullpen. So, I mean, Corbin Burnes isn't someone you need to go out and sign. It'd be a nice luxury, but Max Fried is a little bit cheaper, and, like I said, he fits perfectly in Yankee Stadium, I think. He doesn't allow any hard contact, really, and 7-pitch mix, too, and he mixes it up really, really well. So I really do prefer his profile as a pitcher as opposed to Corbin Burnes right now, if you're trying to slot something into the rotation.
The thing that worries me about Burnes is he's a power pitcher, right? And as those guys age, a lot of times there's that adjustment period. You're counting on that year where, well, it's just the power pitching isn't just working. Now, it does help that he's a cutter guy also, right? So, he can also pitch to soft contact. His strikeout numbers have been coming down year after year, so maybe he's kind of pitching like Max Fried a little bit, where he's pitching to more contact. But the velocity has also dropped the last few years. That worries me. Right, and he's on the wrong side of 30. So, I mean, they're both on the wrong side of 30. But I'd rather have Max Fried, if you ask me. I think he's a little cheaper. That allows you to address some of the other issues. Let's talk about the remaining openings. So,